Hey guys, my name's titustorkelson, and today we're going to do a mix breakdown of my song, Portal Jump. Let's dive into it. Okay, so I've got the session pulled up here, and we're going to just start from the top and work through this, work through these tones. Okay, before we get too far into that heavy riff, which I absolutely love, let's just take a quick look at these beginning parts here. So this is the opening guitar riff that kind of started this atmosphere. Let's just take a listen to this real quick. So this is recorded from my quad Cortex. Let me pull up the preset I'm using here real quick. So I'm coming in. I've got this SSL style compressor into this tube screamer, and then that's off. And then we go into, on the left, we've got the Victory Kraken amp. They call it the Squid. And then we've got a 50-watt Plexi on the right side, going into a couple of speaker cabinets here, two 4x12s, same cabinets. And then we're just taming some of the top end here. And then the real magic is these delays, right? So we got a dual delay. We've got eighth note, then a dotted eighth note. Lots of feedback. So this thing is just singing 80% on the mix. And then into another pretty wet verb here. So that's just adding this like really syncopated da-da-da-da-da-da-da. That really gives it that driving force. So take a listen again. Yeah, which is awesome. And look at, nothing done to it. You get it right on the front end, don't have to do anything to it. So let's take a look at this other layered synth part here. So this is done in archetype Rabea X. And the thing with this is I did print it down. For some reason, like the presets weren't saving as I would do stuff. Plus, I just wanted to get the sound right and put it to print. So that way it's like, hey, it's done. I don't have to think about it again. I don't have to chase presets or keep the plugin active as I'm just recording other parts. So this is Rabea X, Neural DSP. Love this plugin. So this is some of the presets that Rabea Masad has put in himself. So under synth, and yeah, this is one of the bass ones I used. I'm pretty sure it might have been, under this newest presets. And I think it was like I just literally went through some of these presets, found one that I liked, and that's what got that really like cool, like syncopated dot synth part going, right? So that's kind of this, and then it's just printed down. Giving it some more low end. Oh, my computer's struggling a little bit. So much stuff going on. Let me go ahead and disable that Rabea plugin again real quick. This bass part. So during that heavy riff, I've got some side chaining on just the low end here to really make that those kick hits kind of come through and really nice and strong, right? So really that helped things punch through a ton. And then I also have, so I was literally doing both. I probably don't need both on there, but I just really wanted to get that synth out of the way for those kick hits to be just ridiculously strong. And then this awesome synth lead line on the top is totally epic. And I play that with my guitar, and I just pulled up the Rabea plugin and just went to town. That was a really fun part to play. Yeah, just doing a little bit of cleanup, but basically the preset was awesome, so just ran with it. And all right, so let's get into this heavy riff because I love this heavy riff. My computer's struggling. Oh, that's okay. So, yeah, we've got this awesome epic riff. Let's look at these guitars real quick because I absolutely love them. Ah, those guitars are massive. Come on. All right, so two of them recorded, hard left, hard right, double tracked. Let's look at this preset real quick. My quad Cortex, once again, compression. And then the main driver is this Victory Kraken. This is the second channel. Look at that. I just pull it up, pulled a little treble back, and away we go. We are rocking. Once again, 4x12 Marshall V30s. No reverb, no delay, just clean, epic amp goodness. All right. So let's listen to it with and without some of this EQ stuff here. Now let's listen to it with EQ again. All right, so just break it down real quick. So this is just adding a little bit of punch up top, right at that 4K mark. And then down here at like 223 hertz, we're adding a little bit of bump just to give it the beef, right? So get it the punch on top and then a little bit more beef on bottom. And then also I'm side chaining all this low end here. So that way, when every time that kick hits, boom, boom, it's just so strong and so aggressive because I really want that kick to just ah. And then once it comes back, then you have that body again on the sustain. So, yep, that's guitars. And let's jump over to bass real quick. Then we'll go to drums, which is awesome. Here's a bass. Let me take the side compression off. Really distorting it with this BB tubes. And I was finding there was just a little bit of clickiness, so I was just kind of doing a little dynamic processing with that. And then with the side chain compressor on the kick drum. Notice that tack is way slamming, so it's just instant I had that like down here, but then as soon as I moved it there, then the kick came through even better because it's just like instant, like out of the way, out of the way. And then you got the sustain of the bass drum. All right, so let's take a look at drums. Definitely always takes the most amount of work. So for source, we are using GGD. This is Monitor Massive, the original one. And we've got, whoo, listen to that kick drum. Slamming. Whoo, same with that snare. Yeah, this kit sounds incredible. So this is kind of a hodgepodge of some of the kits here and some of the drums. Really like this kick drum and really like this pingy snare just sings, right? Note that really makes a big difference to have these like room mics on. That gives it that extra kind of sing to it. For sure, you want that sustain. All right, let's listen to drums here. Okay, so I was going through that kick channel here real quick. I had to do a ton to this kick drum to make it, because it's not naturally like a super aggressive kick drum. So let me just take some of this stuff off real quick just to kind of show you. Get rid of the... So it really transformed, especially with this first EQ. Just like way more clicky, way more aggressive. Yeah, so this EQ is doing a ton to this kick drum, and then we're compressing the snot out of it. So much compression. Just because we're totally just kind of transforming it here. We just got to keep it under control. It's a lot. And then I'm also doing a limiter. Like, this is just crazy. But in order to get that aggression, out of it and just make it sing, man, it just needs that. So, and I did find that after I kind of do that, I needed to add a little more low end, and I needed to tame just a little bit of the uppers here. And I've actually got 2 different EQs for the different sections of the song. So yeah, so that's kick. Let's go through snare real quick. So let's jump over to, we get the snare introduced in the second half of the groove. All right, so you can see that snare is just pinging like crazy. Once again, if we go to the MIDI and just GDD here. So, yeah. So that's without the room mics, and then you add in overheads, and then you add in these 3 different room mics, really transform the snare. Particularly this one. That just gives it that great sustain. It's just awesome. Because, yeah, I'm not doing any other... I'm doing a little bit of verb on the drum bus just to kind of give it, like, make the whole kit feel like it's in the same room. But, yeah, that snare, that's just compressed and room mics, which make it sound awesome. Just a little bit of processing there, compression, and adding a little bit of top end and a little bit of body. Yeah, so pretty simple. And then the other thing that as I was doing mix downs and stuff like that, I noticed that this snare, the transient, was like extremely high above the rest of the mix. So when I went to do the master, every time that snare hit, the master compressor would just duck, duck, duck. So what I did to try to kind of keep the tone of the drum, but shave off those transients, is I added this limiter here. So you can see every time that snare drum hits, like look at how far that transient is down. This helps to kind of shave that off. And that really helped to get the overall master compressed the way that I needed to without having the compressor move every single time that just snare hit. That transient was just so intense. But I wanted it to sound intense. I just wanted the transient to not hit the compressor intensely. So let's see. Yeah, so this is a different snare for the second part of the section. All right, this is Tom 1, Tom 2, and Tom 3, just kind of cleaning up some lower mids and then adding some more attack. Yeah. So yeah, let's listen to the drums as a whole here. Yeah, like that snare room sound just sounds insane, but then when you add it into the mix... Parallel compression, SSL, and then we also doing some compression on the drums as a whole. Super subtle, but just glues it together. Adding some saturation. Love this plugin. And then once again, just a little bit of tone shaping. Adding some aggression on the top end, more compression, and a little bit of limiting. Those drums are crazy aggressive, but it sounds fantastic. All right, moving on. So we get into that second riff. Heavy, and then into like the guitars open up, which I really like that. It's a really fun section. And then we get into the jump part of it, which is just pick scrape galore.
4, 3, 2, 1.
Dang, my computer's really struggling with the screen recording and processing all these plugins. But yeah, so we've got the kind of into the portal jump and this cool like AI voice.
Portal jump in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
That was really fun to do. I found that on Artlist.io. I bought some of the AI voiceover, and then I could just type in whatever I want. I could add inflections and stuff like that. So that was like perfect for this type of vibe for this song. Reverse cymbal swell, and then the breath. The breath. That was my breath. It took me a few times like to get the right emphasis. And then you have this crazy like pick scrape, which is awesome. Let's look at the lead guitar tone here real quick. All right, so we have this awesome kind of Van Halen inspired guitar tone. Let's just take a look real quick. All right, so coming in, we're gonna chop off quite a bit of this low end just to make that low end not sound as woofy. Compressor, love this SSL. It's just kind of been my go-to. I haven't changed it. We have this micro tubes, which is actually a bass overdrive, but it sounds great into Marshall style circuits because it doesn't like make your low end feel like super cut, because I'm already trying to clean it up. I still want low end and good oomph to the guitar, but I like this over something like as like opposed to like a tube screamer or something. And then then we go into 100-watt plexi. Everything is mostly cranked 4x12, and then we're just kind of shaping a little bit of the digital transients, not transients, but high end here, the roll off there. And then a bit of EQ, delay, and then into a nice plate. So yeah, that's the guitar tone there. I'm gonna go ahead and close out of this since we're not gonna use it for a second. And then we're just adding a little bit of top end to just make it even more, just kind of bite the heck out of everything else that's going on. It sounds really aggressive by itself, but in the mix, it fits perfectly. A little woo! That was a fun little whammy bar trick. All right, and then when the just drums and it's just guitar and bass, and then the bass slides in, the rhythm guitar parts come in. Similar things to like what we already kind of went through. Everything is being sidechained to the kick, including these rhythm guitars, just so that way everything just stays nice and clean and out of the way. I'm realizing after the fact that these low end side chains were a bit extreme. But I just really wanted a clean low end. I just wanted the drums to come through, bass, and that lead guitar just to be, no matter what you listen on to, I just wanted you to hear the nuance of that lead guitar. So that's priority. Everything else just kind of moved out of the way to make sure that happens. We forgot to look at this little explosion here real quick. So this is kind of a fun little boom that goes into that drop. So I just found some explosion sound effects, and I just kind of darkened it, added verb, more verb, and then controlled the low end. So that way it would just sing. To see all that like tie-in and stuff like that in there, it's like, I don't want that. I don't want the sound of breaking glass. I just want boom. And a lovely sustain. And then this is the other one. Once again, rolling top end off. It's just like a difference there that just kind of adds to it. So that way when they're together, it's like they're working together to make that little subtle just kind of lift. It's like, okay, wow, here we are. We're in this crazy battle scene, our lead character. All right, bass tone. Let's see, drums for this part. We switch over to a different snare sound. Well, basically the same snare sound, but I realized that originally I thought I needed less reverb on this part, but it actually ended up sounding fairly similarly. So I did like create another like instance of GGD, and like, let's see. So I don't know if you can see. So I just adjusted the room mics. So the room mics, yeah. Actually, I use more room mics. That's crazy. Room mics, man. They're the sound. If I had more room mics, a bit different sound, just to make it feel super aggressive and open, and yeah. Alrighty. Then we go through the different keys here. We go to A minor, we go to E minor. We have all these little cool like hit transitions. All right, that was really fun. Oh, computer. That wah part, there's like that one note where I use the wah. And then I go down to the low D flat, I guess, with my whammy bar. And then this like harmonic little thing back into it. It's just like chaos, man. That look took me forever. I got it though. And then harmony guitar. This was fun. No. All right, just go listen to the song. It's out on Spotify. Go listen to the song. I'm gonna get my computer, let it cool down, and we're gonna reset, and we'll come back for a part 2 to finish the song. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Catch you on the next one. Peace.